Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. Tonight we are back with a brand new review for Family or Fiance Season 2, Episode 5, Katasha and Victor. Let me tell y'all something before we get into it as we get into it. If you are anyone who has dealt with domestic violence or you are currently going through something that has to do with an abusive relationship, this video and this review, I'm just going to issue a trigger warning before we get into it. All right, if you are new here, then welcome. If you're back for a second or third time, then welcome back. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade. Child, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. Katasha and Victor. Okay, so when the episode first opens up, they tell us they met when she was working at the local grocery store. And he said she would be twisting her body around, showing him her little body. Sir, how is she doing that behind the register, honey? I have never seen the back of my cashier. Okay? Disgusting. She's 25 and he's 55. She says she felt like she was too mature to date guys her age, but she met him when she was 19. Girl, how at 19 years old do you feel like you're too mature and you're tired of dating guys your age? Girl, oh my goodness. He said his previous marriages weren't good and she taught him how to love. He said her family doesn't like him. They feel like she should just live her life, honey, as she should. I actually agree. Okay. At 25, you still have yet to experience life. There is no way you need to be getting caught up with this man. So they get there and they're greeted by Tracy. Hey, girl. They look around and they sit down with Tracy, right? So she asks how they met. She said I was a cashier and he would come in every day and he would be in my line and he was like, yep, I would get 15 loaves of bread just to see her and all of this kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, sir, I'm giving real creepy, but okay. So they met 6 years ago. She was 19 and he was 49. Child, she was barely legal. Like, this should be against the law, honey. I know 19 is of age, but at the point of him being 49, it just gives creep, okay? Tracy said, so how did this go for either of you? I mean, for a regular person, this would be an automatic no way just because of the age. Honey, I'm wondering as well, but let's get into it because I would have been creeped out. Now, that's just me personally. I just would have been, he would have given me the skeevies because why are you looking at me at 19 at your 50-year-old age? Like you're old enough to be my father. So she said she was tired of dating guys her age, which is ridiculous to me. And he said, I didn't even know her age. I was married at the time, but it wasn't serious. Say what now? What marriage isn't serious? Honey, I should just stop the review right here at the point of him saying that his marriage was not serious. Oh my goodness. Every time we get involved with some of these couples, it's always the man with some foolishness. Talking about the marriage wasn't serious. That don't even make no sense, child. So Tracy said, all marriages are serious. He said, oh, well, I didn't take it seriously. So you couldn't take your marriage you were in at the time seriously, but you can take this one seriously and she taught you how to love? Teach me how to love. Show me a way to surrender my heart. Boy, shut up. I'm not about to play with you. Please be quiet. Tracy said, all marriages are serious, so I'm not understanding. He said, oh, well, I didn't take this one seriously. Okay. Tracy said, how many exes have you been married to? And he said, it's been 3. Tracy said, okay, so we have that in common. Now, let me tell you something. What I do love about Tracy is the fact that she doesn't make them feel judged. I feel like she's very good at her job. But Tracy, along the way, during this episode, you dropped the ball. And I'm going to tell you, as a domestic violence survivor, exactly how you did that. But y'all, we going to keep going. She said, what's different this time? He said, I'm in love. She said, you weren't in love before? He said, no. I was wondering if he was in love before as well, because I mean, you've been married 3 times and you're saying you weren't in love. It's not making any sense. I'm sure that was nice to hear, but honey, I'm not buying it. I have had men tell me that they've never been in love until me, honey, and that's what they all say, okay? His behavior is maybe why he's never been in love. I'm just saying. He said he has 3 kids. The oldest is 33, the middle is 28, and the youngest is 27. So all of your kids are older than your fiance? Honey, how does that work? So Tracy said, so how long before you found out he was married? She said, oh, I found out 6 months in. She said, I was upset that he wasn't honest from the beginning. So the relationship started with a lie. Okay. Lying by omission is still a lie. Sure. So she said, he told me that it was a process and they needed to work it out. And then they got back together and she moved in with him and his wife, the one that he didn't take seriously. Okay, I want y'all to keep that in mind. What in the me and my ex is going on here? Child, I wish I would move in with somebody. Okay, let's just keep going, child. Dr. Tracy said, and how did that work? How did that work out? She said, well, we acted like that we weren't a couple. And so he came up with this lie and said that I needed a place to stay. And he's just helping me out. Yes, y'all heard that right. This predator manipulated this 19-year-old girl, concocted a lie to move her in with him and his wife like she was a runaway. Okay? That's exactly what happened. You know what? This is just beyond comprehension. Young lady, where is your family? That's really what I want to know. Where is your family? She said then the wife started noticing things and he finally decided to tell her. He never had any intention on letting his wife go. Okay, I just want you to know that. Tracy said, so you didn't meet Katasha and start laying the groundwork to divorce? You were married and dating? He said, yeah. Like it was nothing. Oh, yeah, I was married and dating. Tracy said, so how long did this arrangement last? Honey, you mean affair? Okay, how long did this affair last? Sweetheart, you were 19 years old when you got with this big grown man who took advantage of you and your inexperience in life. You were what we consider a mistress. You living in this woman's house, unbeknownst to her, and having sex with this nasty shell of a man would make you a mistress. I just want that to be very clear. She said, it was like a year. Tracy said, so what were you doing? Sneaking into his room? She said, oh, well, no. When she would leave, I would sneak in and we would do stuff. And when she was there, we wouldn't do nothing. Oh, my God. So you are letting him live out his fantasies while his poor wife is in the dark? Oh, child, I feel so bad for the wife, child. I feel so bad. This man is sick. He should be ashamed of himself, taking advantage of this young lady like that. She must have daddy issues. She has to. She said once, he told her, then we started sharing the bedroom and she moved into the guest room. Okay, this can't be real. This just cannot be real. So the wife is insane as well. Okay, ain't no way I would let a little young tender move into my house with me and my man. That's first. Bad wig or not. Wig sitting back or not. Okay, because I can see all that scalp, honey. I can see what she's thinking. But that's neither here nor there. And number two, I would never move myself into the room across the hall so they could have their privacy. Girl, are you crazy? Katasha, sweetheart, honey, listen to me. I know you didn't have proper guidance, but this is not love. And just how he did her is how he gonna do you. Okay, I just want you to be aware of that. Ugh, child, it's so hard out here in these dating streets. Oh my goodness, honey. That's just why I just stay to myself, sit in the house, tend to my son, honey, go to my job and do my reviews. Cause this right here is just giving me no hope. Oh, child. So Tracy said, I understand y'all broke up a few times. She said, yeah, and it was because of infidelity and him being on dating sites. Well, child, what did you expect? Tracy said, so does he go back to the ex-wife? She said, yes. Oh, my God. Honey, you don't have to accept this. You have your entire life ahead of you. He is giving real pimp behavior. She only want me for my pimp juice. Shout out to Nelly. Child, honey, something's not right. He said, I don't consider it infidelity when she walks out. I just move on. Honey, typical F boy behavior. Honey, I can't. But I can't call him a boy. So typical F man behavior. Because he old enough to be her daddy. So Katasha said, the people that are coming for me are my stepmom, my cousin, and my best friend. Katasha said her stepmom said if she's happy, then she's okay with it. See, that's the problem right there. Where is your village? Honey, ain't no way I'm letting anybody I love endure this emotional abuse. And child, we're going to get into more even later. From his side, his best friend, his son, and his stepdaughter are coming. He said Marlon is his best friend and he feels like it's doing more harm than good to be with Katasha. She's bad news. How is she bad news? She didn't prey on you. She didn't come to the local Walmart and hang out in your section and on your aisle. Honey, you were going to her Kroger, hanging out in the 5 items or less line every single day to see this young, impressionable girl. Child, I'm disgusted. Anyway, Tracy said, when family sees an age difference, it's usually a big deal. She said in order to get the blessing, they're going to have to show that they're solid. Well, they're dressed alike, so honey, there's that. And the families always give them a blessing at the end, honey, so we don't even need to go into that. Maybe this time will be different. So she gives them their task, and her task is to do a relationship timeline, the breakups, and they'll be able to ask questions. Tracy wants them to know how trifling Victor is, honey. You ain't fooling me, and how you've allowed it to go this far. Thank you, Tracy. You try and do it on the slick, honey, but I see you. I see you, girl. Victor's task is to play 20 questions. Honey, y'all missed one. It's usually 21 questions, but that's just a side note. Victor's task is to play 20 questions with Katasha's family, and it will give them an opportunity to trust him and more. I would not trust anything about a man that picked up a 19-year-old girl at almost 50. I'm so sorry, honey. Oh, child. So then his people show up. Marlon beating on the door like the 5-0. Honey, his son said in the confessional, I want to know why she wants my dad. Because one minute is fine, then the next minute they're arguing and breaking up, and he thinks it's because of the age difference. Well, your daddy seems immature as well, so honey, I'm not sure if it's the age difference or not. Everybody comes on in. He formally introduces his stepdaughter, Heather, to Katasha. She's like, oh, we're the same age, so like, do I call her mom, or exactly what do I call her? Girl, you better not call that lady mom. They said, no, that will be a negative. Honey, I know that's right. Charlie probably was looking at some of your friends. I hope she isn't the daughter of the woman he moved Katasha in on. This is all so trifling. This is just so trifling, honey. I don't even know how to word it. Next up, her family and friends arrive. Her stepmom said, she noticed controlling behavior. And when she asks questions, she looks at him for the answer. It's like she just shrinks. Just like I said, honey, just like I felt. Pimp behavior. So it's time for the family meeting, right? They all get together to voice their concern. Marlon said his issue is trust issues and the toxicity. His son said it's all the back and forth and cussing and fussing and fighting. His stepdaughter, Heather, said it's all of the other failed marriages. So she's trying to figure out, how is this different? Her stepmom's problem was him and all of his controlling behavior. And she didn't understand why he felt the need to always be over her. Honey, he's acting like her dad. That's exactly what's happening. So her cousin Nene said, she's trying to figure out if she really loves him, because no man that loves you will ever move you into a house with his wife. Please, somebody. Somebody, please tell her. Nene, where you been? Bloop, bloop, bloop. Honey, where have you been? That is not love or respect. Ashley, her best friend, said her concern is this what she really wants? Because she has decades on you. You're going to have to go through the process of burying him and starting all over again. Oh, my God. Oh my God. That look on his face. Honey, not Anna Nicole Smith. And honey, if you don't know who that is, just look it up, child. So Katasha said, okay, thank you. Honey, Katasha was ready to quick dead that conversation real quick. She was like, okay, girl, honey, you done spoke your speech. We got it. Oh, honey, I could not stop laughing when she said that girl was going to have to bury him and start all over again. Child, I'm done. So Victor tells them what their exercises will be that Tracy gave them, and they break up to listen to the ceiling. While her family is waiting, they're like, well, who wants to be wiping him up as she's 30 years old and he's going to be 60? So her stepmom was like, well, she going to school for nursing, so she'll be all right. Child, y'all acted like y'all were cool with this mess. So that's the reason why she going to stick beside him. Oh, my God. They get started with his family, but I'm distracted because all I see is Katasha's scalp. Girl, please pull that wig up just a tad bit, like shift it just a little bit toward the eyebrow. Honey, we having the exact opposite of what happened last episode. Last episode, Vanessa's mama wig was sitting too far up towards her eyebrows, and Katasha got it sitting too far back. Child, ugh. I'm gonna need them to have some type of, hair and makeup to adjust these wigs as we get into it. Child, it's just a side note. Anywho, they started talking about the timeline, right? She said they met in 2015. They dated for 6 months. He lied about the wife, so they broke up, but he convinced her to come back. So over there with her family and friends, they asked if he had a good relationship with his kids. He's like, it's not like I would like it to be because I was on drugs for years. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay. We're going to revisit that in a minute. Let's move forward. Back over with Katasha, she's telling them she became homeless. So they're like, how did you become homeless? She said, I was staying with my mom, but she kicked me out. And I was wondering this the entire episode because her stepmom was there. What is really the relationship with your parents? Why is your dad not there? Why is your biological mom not there? Like, where's your support system? That's what I was wondering. But anyway, she said the mama kicked her out, right? Well, why not get your own place? I mean, you were working. You were of age. You were 19 at the time, right? Or were you younger? Because, baby, some of this ain't adding up. The math ain't really mathing on this, but we going to keep going. So Marlon asked about her dad, and she said, he calls me, but he doesn't give me any financial help. Marlon said, is that why you're drawn to Victor? She said, I don't know, but, I just see him as all things. I see him as my father figure, my boyfriend, and my best friend. His son said, that doesn't sound weird to you? She said, well, it may sound weird to you, but Victor looks at me as his daughter. Girl, that sounds sick and twisted. So while she's talking, Heather is over there laughing because she just cannot believe this is real. Honey, I can't believe it's real either. It's not normal for a man to sleep with you and see you as his daughter. It's giving fetish and pedophile. He probably was looking at the stepdaughter too, honey. I don't put nothing past him. It's a yuck. Okay, it's a yuck and it's a hell no. So his stepdaughter started laughing, right? So they said, "Are you violent?" We back over here with Victor and her family. They said, "Are you violent?" He said, "No, she'll hit me before I hit her." But you did not say you don't hit her. I hope y'all noticed this. Okay, he made a little joke, but he didn't say that he was not violent. So the producer stepped in and said, "Is that real?" He said, "Oh, no, no, it's no violence whatsoever." I don't find nothing funny. First of all, he's lying, okay? And what's funny about domestic violence? So Nene said, well, I question that because her mom moved her out of the house because of abuse. He said, no, she ran out of the house and was gone for 7 months. So her stepmom said, so why did she run out? He said, because she thought I was cheating and, we got into a heated argument. Let me tell you something. Most abusers use the excuse, I didn't hit her. We were just in a heated argument. Sure you were. Okay, sure you were. This is very triggering for me. Okay. Being a victim for years of domestic violence and him laughing and him lying. Honey, I cannot stomach this old perv. I just cannot. They were like, he's dancing around the question. He's not even answering them because he's lying. That's why he's not answering them. So Heather asked, were you a secret when you moved in? Was it love? Or you just didn't have a place to stay? She said, well, I ran through all my options, but I didn't use him for his money or anything like that. Well, were you giving him sex in exchange for a roof over your head? Like, what was it? So then they asked, when was the last fight? He said, we argue all the time, but to keep the peace, I just leave. Honey, sounds toxic to me. So then her stepmom said, you know, I know toxic when I see it. I was with her dad for 14 years. It was organized chaos and fussing and fighting. And I don't want y'all to be the same way. Honey, this is ignorance, okay? These two are on the wrong show. I don't even know what show they should be on. I would say Iyanla, but she's done with the foolishness. And then I was thinking Dr. Phil, but then he made that whole girl. How about that? He made her famous. So, honey, I feel like he just do anything for clout. Y'all need therapy. Y'all really need some therapy. Back over here with Katasha and her scalp, Marlon asked if she had ever gotten into it with the wife, right? She was like, yeah, after she found out, I did get into it with her. He said, but you're in her house. She said, y'all acting like I started the fight. So then his son said, no, we're not acting like you started the fight. Oh, no. What we're not going to do is sit here and pretend like this is okay. If she thinks y'all think she started the fight, so be it. Okay? Because you should not have been in this woman's house sleeping with her husband and pretending to be some wayward girl that needed a roof over her head. And let me tell you something. It ain't no way I'm about to just let my husband bring in a stray. So first of all, I'm going to ask questions. Where did you get her from? How do you know her? Why do you know such a young girl, and why do you feel the need to rescue her? Like, what is happening there? So Heather is like, it's not no need to get heated. She's like, I'm not heated, but y'all two got a problem with me. She's like, y'all just picking on me. So Heather is like, I'm not disrespecting you at all. So then they go back and forth, and then they hear it over at the other table. So her stepmom is like, who is that? Honey, it's Scalpy over there with her misplaced anger. Okay, sweetheart, this is called pulling your card. Okay, take some accountability. My grandma always said, honey, a hit dog will holler. They're like, it's your daughter and Heather. So then she gets up. So they all walk over there where she is, right? So she's telling Heather, I slap that wig off your head. Heather was like, I slap yours too. Let me tell you something, honey. It won't take much to hit the ground, honey. Once you move your hand towards Katasha's head, that wig is going to be completely on the ground. Honey, she was not disrespectful to you at all. You were mad because she laughed about you saying that the man that you sleep with looks at you like a daughter. Honey, get real. She gets up and walks away, right? So Heather said, she don't want to face the truth. That's the problem. So Katasha is hooping and hollering and she gets up and removes herself from the table, right? Inside, he's trying to calm her down, right? So he's like saying little things to pacify her. So she's like, if you see her, you need to see her by yourself. He said, that's my daughter. Girl, please grow up, honey. The level of immaturity and the inability to answer these questions shows you should not be getting married. In the next scene, they sit down for dinner. They start talking about cheating and he's defending it. Then her stepmom says, so what happened with y'all? Honey, please don't bring up the discord, honey, at dinner. I hate mess while I'm eating. I cannot stand to be upset while I am eating. Katasha said, well, she got a nasty attitude towards me. It wasn't right for her to be telling me that I'm a user and this and that, and I was using him for money. Heather said, well, you said you were staying with him because you got put out. So then they start threatening each other from across the table, but eventually they squashed it and they hugged it out, right? So Katasha's sitting by the pool with her stepmom, looking like Gretchen from Recess. Child, if y'all haven't seen Gretchen from Recess, please Google it. So they're talking about Victor, right? This is where this entire review is no longer going to be a joke, but it's going to be in all seriousness, okay? So I want y'all to pay attention. She said, being a flirt, do you want to marry that? She said, yeah, I mean, if he changes. Girl, he is 50 plus years old. How you got with him is the way he's going to die. Honey, it ain't going to change. So then she said, if y'all are having issues, then, just call me. Don't ever feel like you are alone. You have someone to talk to. Her stepmom feels like she isn't getting the whole story, so she continues to dig, right? She said one of the questions was about physical abuse. Has he ever been abusive? She was like, yeah, but he don't want me to talk about it. He's mad for me even coming on here. He gets mad and then he blows up. The last time that he's been abusive was like a few months ago. Look, okay, for anyone that's listening to this review, abuse is not okay. It is not in alignment with love. I don't care what they say. I don't care what kind of gifts they buy. I don't care what kind of makeup you put on to cover up the black eyes. Abuse is not okay. Honey, I knew he was lying. She said, well, what happens with you? She said, now I get aggressive too. So Casey said, look, you don't have to take that. No matter what he does for you, any man that puts you in harm's way, they don't love you. Honey, she is lost. Love does not hurt, okay? Katasha said, please don't say nothing. Oh my God. Oh my God. So her stepmom said, so now that I know that it's violence, I have to get her help. So in the next scene, Dr. Tracy has been summoned and she goes to talk to Casey, right? She said, I heard you want to talk to me. She said, yeah, last night Katasha told me that he's been violent toward her. So Dr. Tracy said, does she think it's under control or it's not going to happen again? Like, what does she think? And so Casey said, I don't think she thinks it's under control. Tracy said, most people don't get out of it. Can you tell us your story? Can you tell us how you did it? She said, listen, I was in a coma and I just asked God to take me out of it. And after he did, I listened and I left. Listen to me. For those of you that have been on my lives, there are a few reasons why I do not show my face. One of them being domestic violence and stalking. Okay, now let me just tell y'all a little story time. That is a story time. Normally it's not a story time, but this is an actual story time. This review is going to run long, but honey, whatever. You can listen to it in its entirety or you can choose not to, but I'm going to speak my speech. So here we go. I was married and one day I came home from a long day's work, honey. I'm just minding my business and anything would set him off. This day, it was what I was making for dinner. He did not want spaghetti. He wanted pork chops. And when I refused to make them, he beat me unrecognizable. He choked me within an inch of my life while I had his hands wrapped around my neck. I said, you know what? I'm going to die in here. I have not yet to have kids. I have not yet to even live. And he choked me within an inch of my life. And when he saw me almost lifeless, he let me, you can either choose to live or you can choose to die. And I chose to live. And so for any of you that are going through anything domestic violence related, it is never too late to get out. The time of it being too late is when you are being buried. And I'm telling you right now, get out while you still can. I'm just telling you, honey. So she tells Dr. Tracy her story and she asked her not to mention it. She said, well, I'm going to have to talk to them about it. and we'll just go from there. Day 2 of check-in. They go in and talk to Dr. Tracy, and she told them that Tracy told her what they talked about, and she's saying there's violence. Baby, the look he gave her, I know that look. It's dangerous to even go back with him at this point. And you know what, Tracy, listen to me. I wish you would have talked to her alone. Abusive men will kill you or try once they know you have exposed them and you're trying to leave. I don't think this was handled the best. This was not the proper way to do this. You never expose the fact that she revealed to someone else that she's facing abuse. Now, Tracy, I don't know if you're not, trained in that area. I'm not sure if you just didn't know what to do because this took you so off guard, but you did not handle that properly. So Tracy asked if they could talk about it, right? He said, no, it just brings up too many things. Katasha said, I don't want to talk about it. Tracy said, oh, that's so disheartening. So she said, so Victor, what is it? He said, if she said she don't want to talk about it, then fine, but I do want to know what was said. And he wants to know what was said because he going to beat the hide off of her when they get along. He is going to rip her a new one. So Tracy said, do you want help or do you want to know what she said? He said, I want to know what she said. Absolutely no remorse. So then he looked at her in this threatening, intimidating manner. Honey, he's steady denying it. Tracy said, don't look at her like that. He said, I'm looking at her like that because she's not telling the whole story. Oh my God. Tracy said, that's threatening. He said, I feel attacked. Boy, fuck you. You feel attacked. You took advantage of this girl, and I'm going to continue to say girl because she had not yet become a woman. Your age does not make you a woman. She was 19 years old. Tracy said, you're talking like you're as much as a victim as her. But you know why you're not a victim? Because you're 55 years old and she's 25. And you got her when she was 19. So then Tracy said, is it okay if I talk to her alone? Well, honey, you already caused the damage now. Oh my God. He said, sure. So Katasha hangs her head down. Honey, it's not your fault. It's not your fault, sweetness. I just want you to know so many in your life have failed you. Okay. Your mama should have been there for you. Your daddy should have been there for you. The fact that they just allowed you to go with this overgrown man, your stepmama, just, yeah, it's fine. I mean, as long as he love her. No. If it don't look right, if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, it's a motherfucking duck. God, child, let me collect my thoughts, honey. So Tracy assured her, she's not alone and she doesn't have to face this alone. So she breaks down and truly opens up to Tracy. And she said, you know what? The real reason why I came here is to tell my story. And I'm just tired of living a lie. And you know what? It took incredible strength to be vulnerable enough to share your struggles. And someone is going to benefit from you speaking out. So Tracy was like, well, let me go get Casey so she can come in, which is her stepmom. So she comes in, she comforts her, and she told her, look, if he loved you, then he wouldn't hurt you. So then Tracy said, well, there's no need to do the blessing ceremony. Let's just put the marriage and the wedding on hold. And Katasha agreed. She said, Victor will stay at a hotel for the night and you will stay here. She said, but I still want to be with him though. Now listen, before anyone says in the comments, oh, she's stupid. Why she still want to be with him? It takes 7 times or more to leave an abusive situation. I had to almost lose my life to leave mine. I'm not going to judge her because I've been in her shoes, so I understand exactly what it is that she's facing. She's a young girl that's fallen victim to him preying on her, not having a support system. Her stepmom said her dad was a monster too. So, honey, she's seen abuse all of her life. So I sympathize and I empathize with her way of thinking. Okay, so Casey starts getting very emotional because she's in disbelief that she wants to stay with him. Well, honey, I don't understand why. You've gone through the exact same thing at the hands of her father. So you know what the cycle of abuse is like. In the next scene, Tracy comes out to talk to the family and she tells them that there's a lot of work that needs to be done. She said, where abuse thrives in secrecy, they heal in uncovering. Heather, his stepdaughter, she said, look, I'm speaking directly to you, Katasha. I've been through a lot, even younger than you have. And, I knew something wasn't right. Now, I'm not saying it's all my dad, but you do deserve happiness and you do deserve better. So everyone is telling her that she needs to leave him. And her stepmom, Casey, said, she doesn't want to see her hurt. But this is where she lost me. Then she turns around and she says, but if y'all gonna work it out in a healthy and better way. No, woman, I do not agree with that. Honey, do not tell her to work it out. Working it out is not an option because someone being abused will take it every single time. When you give them an option to stay, they are going to stay. She needs to know abuse is not okay on any level. Now she gonna work harder at hiding it because you gave her an escape. Ugh, a room full of dummies. So he pipes up and he says, well, most of the time it's the man, but in this case, it's not. Sir, the fact that you even fixed your lips to utter that foolishness, you are pure ignorance. Pure ignorance. So Tracy is like, that is your ego talking. He's like, no, it's not. She said, how about you say, I don't know how to be in a real relationship and I'm willing to learn? Honey, they could very well be fighting each other. I don't know. But what I do know is this is unhealthy and could be catastrophic. So for everyone that is involved in this sit down, what y'all need to be doing is giving her a safe word. What you need to be doing is letting her know that the doors are open. She needs to have some type of safe haven. Don't sit up here and tell her, if y'all choose to work it out. Tracy's like, well, if you want to put the marriage on hold indefinitely. Okay? And what really should have happened is they should have ushered some other people in order to talk to Katasha so that they would leave separately. So Tracy said, well, with this attitude, you're not ready. So she suggests that they do a 30-day no contact experiment. Honey, it won't work. She will leave with him, scared and all. And in 30 minutes, she's going to be talking to him again. He said, I don't know where this is going to go, as far as when we get back to Dallas. And then she said, I'm so happy I spoke my truth. I've been in a 6-year abusive relationship. And that was the end of the episode. And the update is Katasha and Victor didn't follow Tracy's 30 days no contact, which I knew that they would not. Shortly after that, they were married at a courthouse. No loved ones were present, and she hasn't spoken to Casey since getting back to Dallas. Let me just say this. I pray a hedge of protection around her. I got married the exact same way because I felt like people were trying to keep us apart. How dare they keep me from my abuser? I got married at a courthouse in secrecy. And the funny thing is, I was wearing 2 pounds of concealer as I said I do because I had a black eye that day. He beat me again that very night. Oh my goodness. Only she can decide to leave. So if you or someone you know is in an abusive relationship, call 1-800-799-SAFE or text START to 88788 for help. Please do not hesitate to comment, like, and subscribe to my channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.